welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kyla and we are doing one of my most favorite videos to do, a book tag. This is the mid-year book freakout tag. I did do this last year, so I will have that linked below if you want to check it out. I do not remember any of my answers, so don't ask me about that, but this is one of my favorite videos to watch. I just love seeing this go around because it really, one, helps me add books to my TBR for like the last half of the year. It also just re-inspires my reading journey, and let me tell you, life has been chaos, so I feel like I could use that inspiration right now. And talking about my favorite books, sharing my favorite books, but also watching other people's videos talk about their favorite books is just the oomph that I need to get me through the last half of the year. And like, let me tell you, I have some catching up to do. I feel like I'm a little bit behind on my reading goals, which is fine, but I just want to read more the second half of the year. We just need to get through the summer. We just need to get through the summer. Anyways, I think that's enough. You all know what this video is about. I will have the questions linked below. If I can find the original creator, I will link them as well. I feel like the list of questions that I have may have differed slightly from the original. I feel like there's been a few more added throughout the years from like other people, but we're just gonna roll with it and let's just get into it. In true tag fashion, I have my phone with me because there's no way I will remember these questions or my answers without having written it down first. Are you kidding? No, absolutely not. Question number 1, best book you've read so far in 2024. I feel like everyone says, well, how can I narrow it down? But these actually were such standout books for me that it was so easy to narrow it down. Now, do I have 3 to share with you? Yes, I do. I'm going to try to go through them as fast as possible, as well as the rest of this tag, and not dilly-dally. The first one I have is The Very Secret Society of Regular Witches. I have talked about this so many times. This is a cozy fantasy romance. I wouldn't necessarily call it like a romantasy, because it's more on like the cozy side, but if you liked House in the Cerulean Sea, you liked Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, like this gives the same vibes as that, except make it witches, and it's so stinking cute. There's actually a gay couple in here that run a school for witches, and our main character, Micah Moon, gets the opportunity to go to the school and teach the witches. She falls in love with someone while she's there, but like the gay couple that run this school is very much like Arthur Parnassus and Linus. Like it just, they're the same. It's the same vibes and it's adorable, and I absolutely loved this. The next book, oh, you aren't even ready. I feel like I've talked about this one also a ton, but like I will use this platform to talk about it some more because I'm that obsessed with it. Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This book is everything that I need in my life that I didn't know that I needed until I read it, and I was screaming. Oh, I was screaming during this book. And something that I have not seen enough people talk about is the way the magic works in this book is based off of the woman's cycle, like our monthly cycle, and it is just top tier. It is such a cool concept and also just so empowering and makes you feel so powerful while you're reading it. I feel like everyone's talked about like the love triangle and the writing in here is stunning, but like we need to really be talking about that magic system because it is so important, especially for young readers, but also just like as women, like that's not talked about enough. Like we have never talked about our cycles enough and like what women go through from the time that they are young to the time that they are old. Like we definitely have not talked about it enough, and having it portrayed in this book, oh my god, I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with it. So not only that, yes, we have a love triangle, and I will tell you, I didn't know who I was rooting for the entire time. I mean, I had like a little bit, I was like a little bit towards one side, but like It's so hard. It's so hard in this book, but like that's what I loved about it. The writing in here is absolutely gorgeous. This is an enemies to lovers about a witch and a witch hunter, so you have that tension there. It's also very dark and gritty. It's emotional. I loved everything about this, and I need the second one immediately. Because the way this ends, like a punch to the gut. An absolute punch to the gut, and I need more of it. I need more of it. And then my last favorite so far, at least, I mean, honestly, like, I had so many favorites, but, like, the top tier is A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. And, like, this one caught me off guard a little bit and kind of sent me on a spiral, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I am now a Regency romance gal, I guess. I mean, I've always been, like, a slight fan. Like, I love Bridgerton and that kind of thing, but I never really read it a lot in books. At least it's not something that I, like, sought out. I didn't mind if it was like thrown in there, or like the Regency vibes were like present in other books, but it's not something that I like sought out. I was like, I'm gonna read Regency romance. But this one I absolutely loved. If you loved season 2 of Bridgerton with Anthony and Kate and like their tension, this is that. This is that 100%. But it also has some magic in there because our main character Neve is a seamstress, and she can sew magic into the garments that she creates, and she is creating the whole wardrobe for this royal wedding that is about to happen, and it just goes off, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I also love that all of the side characters, very much like in Bridgerton, are queer in this, which was just, we love to see it. We love to see it. I loved it. The writing was gorgeous. I need to read more from Alison Saft. This is the only one that I've read so far, and I just know, like, I need to be reading more from her immediately. I like how I said I was gonna go fast, and like, spent that much time on question 1. Question 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. Again, didn't even have to think about this one because it was Ruthless Vows. I mean, we all know the love for Divine Rivals, right? Like, top 3 books of last year. It, like, really is battling for that #1 spot. I had 3 books last year that were, like, battling for the #1. And honestly, still can't tell you to this day which one was my #1. But I love Divine Rivals so much. Letters in books just gets to me. It just gets me. And Divine Rivals is like, you've got mail, but make it fantasy, and I'm obsessed with it. And this conclusion, ooh, it had me on the edge of my seat. I'm so sad this is just a duology because I would love to be in this world with Iris and Roman. Like, as much as I can get. Like, this could have been an 8-book series and I would have signed up for every single one. That's how much I loved it. It was the perfect sequel. I'm not going to talk about what happens in here because I don't want to spoil anything that has happened in the first book and then what happened in here. So that's all I'm going to say. This was my favorite sequel by far. Question 3 is honestly so rude. So rude. But we're going to try to answer it. It is new release you haven't read yet but want to. The list is long, okay? I'm gonna get the generic answers out of the way because there are, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna say this every year because it's just the time of year and we know it's going to happen. Yes, I am looking forward to the new Riley Sager. I can't help it. I cannot help it. There's something about his books, even when I don't like them, I need to read them, and I need to be reading more of them. I will read every single one. It doesn't matter how many I've liked or how many maybe I haven't liked in a row. I do not care. I will be reading all of them. So we have Middle of the Night by him that has just come out, and yes, I will be reading it, but not until next month. So I'm going to be avoiding spoilers for that. This is a male point of view. Something we have been dying for him to do, and I'm so scared that we're not gonna like it as much as the other ones, which is really just gonna make us all hypocrites at this point, but it's fine, it's fine. I also am looking forward to the new Lucy Foley. Have I loved a lot of Lucy Foley's? Not necessarily. I've loved some. I could do away with some others, but like this is just those kinds of authors that like I'm gonna continue to read from because they're fun. And like I feel like I need to be getting back into my thriller era. I feel like I've been away from it for a little while, and it's that summertime feeling of like wanting to read thrillers that's happening for me right now, and so this is perfect timing. Also, on the opposite end of that, a novel love story by Ashley Poston. This woman, I will read anything. Anything. I loved The Dead Romantics. I loved The 7-Year Slip. She just includes some sort of like fantasy or magical element, and this one is about like a town and a book that kind of like comes to life almost, and that just sounds so interesting. I think it has to do with books, like within books, or maybe it's an author or something like that, something along those lines. She works within books and then she's reading something and like the book comes to life, something along those lines. That's so vague, don't take my word for that. But I will read anything this woman puts out. It's so good. And she knows how to hit you in your feels and also create such relatable characters. I am obsessed with her books. I will read every single one of them. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to keep my answers so generic for that one because I do have some other answers that talk about new releases, so we'll move on. Like the next question, question number 4. I feel like these are very similar questions, but it's fine. It gives me a chance to talk about new release books, so like I'm here for it. Question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. First one, Lady Macbeth by Ava Reed. I loved A Study in Drowning so much. Again, it was fighting for that #1 slot last year. Obsessed. Her writing is absolutely stunning. Now, am I like a Shakespeare stan? No. I'm not, okay? I am one of those people that has such a hard time understanding Shakespeare. However, I do enjoy Shakespeare retellings, or at least I think I do. I've read a few and have enjoyed them, so I'm really excited to check out hers. And I've seen reviews going around for this, and they've been incredible so far, so I need to be reading this one. We also have Wisteria by Adeline Grace, which is the 3rd book in the Belladonna series. One of my favorite series. I love it. I was obsessed. Belladonna was my #1 book in 2023. I loved it. While Foxglove wasn't like quite up to par with Belladonna, I still really loved it, and I am so excited for Wisteria and the perspective that we are going to get. I don't think I'm ready. So that one for sure. And then we have The Wild Huntress by Emily Lloyd Jones, which is the same author as The Bone Houses, and I loved The Bone Houses so much. I have not read more from her. I know she has a few on her backlist that I still need to get to, but when I saw that she was coming out with a new book this fall, I was like, yes, sign me up. And it's like this gorgeous green. It's almost like this color of the walls that I painted in here. Need you say more? No. I love her writing so much. I just absolutely loved it. So I'm very much looking forward to that one. But I will have a video coming out soon of my most anticipated books for Q3. So I'm not going to continue. We're just going to move on to the questions. So be on the lookout for that video if you want to know more of the books that I'm like super excited about for the next half of the year. Question number 5, biggest disappointment. This one, again, I didn't even have to think about because I still think about how sad I was and how sad I am that I didn't enjoy this book, and it's No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. I actually donated this to a free little library. I didn't even keep it because that's how sad I was that I didn't enjoy it. I don't know what happened, but this book was an epic fail for me. Like, from beginning to end, I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the plot. Has one of my most, like, least favorite plot twists or, like, plot points in a book, and oh, no, absolutely not. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I don't even really want to be talking about it right now. That's how sad I was, because I have loved pretty much everything else that Kate Alice Marshall has come out with. I'm actually pretty sure that I've read, other than like her middle grade, like young adult series, I think it's 13, I've read every single backlist from her and loved them. So to have this one be such a disappointment, like deep breaths. We're gonna move on. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I was so sad. Question number 6 is your biggest surprise, and I'm just going to say this as like a whole, my romance era, I don't know who I think I am, but something happened this spring where I was like, I want to read romance. And like, I have never really been a romance reader. I actually like was kind of silently judgy about romances. I think it's just more like the dark romances I just don't get, and like that's fine. But I was like, I don't know, I just need some like lighthearted reads. Life is a little chaotic. I feel like I need books that I can just like read really quickly, get into, that don't require so much thought, because fantasy requires your brain to work a little bit more than like just a thriller or a romance, and I just wasn't in the mood for thrillers. Now I'm getting back into it, be it summertime, but there was just something about springtime that just screamed, it's time to read romance. I don't know if it was the new season of Bridgerton coming out. I also think that like reading A Fragile Enchantment kind of set off my like, I was just in like a Regency vibe, and then I was like, well, I just want to read some romances and keep this going. So it like pure shock to me that this happened, and I think a shock to some of you, but I think also a lot of my bookish friends are like so happy that it's happening, and I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon because I'm still having fun and feel like I have so many to catch up on. I am being like kind of picky about what I'm reading, but that's just because I don't love a ton of spice. So I'm trying to like navigate that. But like my romance era came out of nowhere. It surprised me. I think it surprised you. I don't have anything else to say about it. Shock. Pure shock. Question number 7 is your favorite new author, debut, or just new to you. So I'm gonna say for sure, I mean, I can't not say it, right? Abby Jimenez. She puts something in her books that make them pure addicting. Like, they are an addiction. She writes her characters so well. Her writing is amazing. She's so funny. She writes such relatable characters. I never want to put it down. These are books that I could 1000% read in one sitting, and that never happens to me. Like, never. I don't know what she's putting in them. I don't know what she's putting in them. I have read this, and I'm in the middle of yours truly right now. I didn't even want to put it down to film this video, but here we are. She's incredible. She's incredible. She lives up to the hype. Like 1000% lives up to the hype, and that makes me so happy. The other author that like is a standout is Kristen Ciccarelli. I have not read from her before. I don't know if this is her debut. I actually have to check that. Mental note, Kyla. Check that. But oh my goodness, the way I was obsessed with this book and the writing and the concept, like this is an immediate auto buy author for me now. I cannot get enough. I think that, again, just her storytelling and the way that she wove this magic system just really, really, really impressed me, and I will forever be a fan now. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush, and okay, I have to say this, but like with a grain of salt, is Daniel from Part of Your World. Like, how can you not love him? Now, he is 10 years younger than me. Maybe even a little bit more, so it feels weird saying that, but also, he's 10 years younger than Alexis in this book, and like, is age truly just a number? Well, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. The idea of dating someone 10 years younger than me, I don't know how I feel, but I did love Daniel. I mean, he's got a baby goat. Like, sign me up already. You didn't even have to, like, the man didn't even have to say a word. He could have just showed up with the baby goat in his hands and I would have instantly been in love with him. But then he is also just so sweet and so caring and so sensitive and also just, like, knows what he wants. And that is very much, like, a green flag to me. This man is just a walking green flag. Like, a walking green flag. Alexis is a lucky lady. I just don't know what else to say. Despite the age difference, It's Daniel. Question number 9 is newest favorite character. Hold on, I need to get the book behind me. I'm gonna say Daisy from Magic Lies and Deadly Pies. I just loved her. I thought she was such a riot, and like, she bakes murder into her pies, but like for the people that deserve it, for the, I shouldn't say people, for the men that deserve it. And like, we love that. We love to see it. I mean, I'm not condoning that by any means. By any means, we don't need to be doing that. But fictionally, I loved this. I loved it. I love the concept of it, but I just love Daisy. She also has a pit bull, and like, I have a pit bull, and I love her. She's fun. She's quirky. She can bake. I feel like we would be friends. I just really enjoyed her. And I know I am only in the middle of this book right now, but Jacob, I mean, this man is one of the most relatable characters I have ever read. As someone who suffers with anxiety and also mild OCD, I have never felt so seen in a character in my entire life. The anxiety representation in this book is spot on and like covers so many aspects of anxiety and neurodivergent tendencies that I can't stop reading from his perspective, because everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, yes. And the way he's explaining how he needs to do things and how he needs to know things before a situation happens or before he goes into a situation, like, I've never felt more seen. I just slapped my knee if you were wondering what that sound was. I've never felt more seen and heard and understood, and like, obviously that goes to Abby Jimenez herself for like writing that into her book, but also just reading it from a man's point of view and just Jacob himself. I just love him. I just love him so much. I need to protect him at all costs. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. And look, we all know, I've talked about this before, it takes a lot to get me to cry in a book. I am a visual person, so like I need to see it on a screen and like have the dramatic music behind it to get me to cry. I will cry at a TV show or a movie at the drop of a hat. Give me a commercial, a sad ad. Are you kidding me? Like, I will cry immediately. Don't even show me anything having to do with a cute animal or just a sad animal story. No. Instant waterworks. But in books, it's a little bit harder. So I will say the books that made me a little misty at the end, meaning like I felt the emotion. My eyes maybe got a little watery, but like no actual tears. Okay, it's hard, okay? I think the only book that I physically like have sobbed at was Under the Whispering Door, because there is a scene at the end that happens with an animal, and that's all I'm gonna say. And then The Art of Racing in the Rain, which I read so long ago, but I read it at a time where a dog had just passed away, and then I read that book. Instant mistake, sobbed. It's always an animal, you guys. It's always an animal. However, I did get a little misty at the end of Part of Your World. The third act conflict in this, did get me a little misty, and then I did get a little misty at the end of Heartless Hunter. There is something that happens at the end of this book that I was not expecting, like even in the slightest, and it completely had my jaw on the floor, and I definitely got a little misty. Like this one for sure, like maybe even a little bit more so than Part of Your World, like because I just wasn't expecting it. Ooh, the emotions just hit me, and there were definitely some mist happening, and I love that about it. It just made me connect that much more and make me want the second one that much more. On the flip side of that, question number 11 is a book that made you happy, and I have kind of a weird second answer for this one. So the first one, a very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. I mean, all of these books that I am loving obviously made me so happy, and I've also read romances that have made me like kick my feet and like make me happy, but this one, I just loved all of the characters in here, even like the 3 little girl witches, and like I'm not even really like a kid person, but I just loved them. I thought they were so cute. Again, with all of the characters in here being a little bit quirky, it was whimsical, it was fun, it just made me so happy, and it was the first book this year that I read and like instantly fell in love with and has carried through to be a favorite. So I have to say this one. This next answer though, don't get me wrong, the content of the book didn't necessarily like make me happy, but I was happy that I really enjoyed it, and that was the reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. 5 Survive by her, which is her last book, was an epic disappointment for me. Like, the book that like stands out in my mind, that when I read it, I was so visibly disappointed and just like, again, didn't want to talk about it. Kind of like with the Kate Alice Marshall, like I just didn't want to talk about it. So having this and like having it give me the same vibes, not necessarily fulfilled, but like the same feelings of being like, yes, I love Holly Jackson, like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It's not nearly as good as that series, don't get me wrong. I love that series so much, specifically the first book, but like I love that series so much. But this was like, yes, this is the Holly Jackson we know and love, and she's back, and that's why it made me happy. There's also a lot of plot twists in here that I didn't necessarily see coming, because there are a lot of plot twists, which some people might not enjoy, but I do. I want to be shocked by a thriller, and like while I can suspect some things that are coming, I want to be surprised, obviously. Isn't that the point of a thriller? So I just really loved that this kind of did that for me, and it just makes me so happy that she's back. We can forget 5 Survive happened. We can continue on and still be a Holly Jackson stan. It wasn't just a one-time wonder. I love her. I will continue to read from her. Question number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or that you've received. Hands down, the classics that I bought myself for my birthday. These are the Penguin and Bloom editions of the classics. So we have Sense and Sensibility, which like, this navy blue, it honestly makes my heart hurt a little bit. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And like, it continues all the way around. And like, they're the perfect, like, cute little size. I love it. Then we have Emma, this one with the freaking strawberries. Are you kidding me? This is like the most girly edition ever. And like, love it. And then we have Pride and Prejudice, which I'm gonna be reading this month. Very excited. But oh my god, these are stunning. And just like having them as like a collection just make me so happy. I love having them on display behind me. The perfect birthday present. I will be continuing to add to this collection. I want to get the Little Women edition. I want to get the Anne of Green Gables edition. So I still have some more to collect, but hands down, I mean, these are just absolutely stunning, and like I'm so happy to have them. Have I read them yet? Let's not talk about it, okay? I did say I was reading Pride and Prejudice this month, and like I still stand by that, okay? There's a whole readathon happening, but I have not read the other ones yet, but I'm going to. Question number 13 is favorite manga / graphic novel you've read this year, and I actually have not read as many as I was hoping to read, so I just have to say Heartstopper Volume 5. I did read some other ones, but they were kind of a disappointment, so this one was by far like my favorite, and I just love it. I mean, I'm devastated there's only one left. I don't know how I'm going to cope. But I loved it. I loved it so much. The kicking of my feet was happening. And then the last question we have is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Again, I mean, this question, it's like so hard because there's so many, and I just keep adding to my TBR. So I picked a few that like stand out in my mind that like either are series that I want to continue, start, or anyways, yes. So the first one that I absolutely need to be reading by the end of the year is A Feather So Black by Lyra Celine. This is going around right now and is so popular, and it's just one of those romanticies that it's really catching people's attention and like already skyrocketing to so many people's like favorite books of the year list, and I need to be in the know. So I have it. I do plan on reading it. I may be reading it this month. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I just need to be in the know of what's happening. I really don't know that much about it. I really don't. I've heard it's kind of like fairy tale-esque. It's romantic-y. I don't need to know anything else. The people that I know and love that have read this gave it 5 stars, and like it just was a standout to them, and so I will be doing the same, and I need to be reading this. I also would love and like need to be reading the rest of the Caraval series. I was so obsessed with that first book, and I meant to continue reading it like right away, but I read it towards the end of last year, and then it just didn't really feel like the right time. I feel like this is such a fall series, so come this fall, I need to be reading the second and third book like so soon, because I loved that first one so much. And the way it ends and leaves you kind of with that cliffhanger, like I need to be knowing what's going on and what's happening. As much as I want to be reading it like right away, I will be waiting until fall, but ooh, definitely the Caraval series. And then another series that I need to start and read, or else my friend Tishna is really gonna like start to come for me, is A Serpent and Wings of Night, or whatever it's called. Serpent and the Wings of Night? Something along those lines. I don't know. She read it, really enjoyed it, but like obviously was like, you know, I don't know if you're gonna love it, but I need you to read it kind of situation. And so I need to be reading that one. I also really want to. It's been on my TBR for a long time. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So that is definitely one that I need to start and possibly continue if I do really enjoy it. If she did, I have no doubt that I will, but I need to be doing that by the end of the year for sure. And that is the mid-year book Freakout tag. Those are all the questions, at least that I've gathered. I think, like I said, there was a few extra in there, but like fun, right? Fun. So if you are doing this tag, please let me know in the comments. I will go to your channel and watch it because I would love to see it. Like I said, these are some of my favorite videos to watch to like really start adding to my TBR and just get that reading inspiration going again. I would also love to hear your thoughts on all of the things that I have talked about, mentioned. Have you read these books? Do you feel the same? Are they now on your TBR? Let me know all of your thoughts and feelings below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe if you are not already. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
With you and I, the future is bright.